So the second method that we can bring in maps is through the Avenza map store. So there are lots of options in here, and there are some advantages. It is some of the maps are free, and some you have to pay for. So we can find that area by going to the Avenza store down here, clicking on the store tab, and then we're given this interface here that allows us to find maps that might be suitable for our application, comes up with some kind of suggestions, but the easiest way is to go into the search bar up at the top, and we can search a location that's near us. So I'm going to use Vernon. So there is Vernon, BC, Canada. We can just click on that. What it's going to do is bring us to a map that has some data points that are saved to it. So what we want to try and do is we want to try and click on any of these map images that are around our area. So this little dot here is us here in Vernon. So when we click on that, we notice that we get a whole list of maps along the side here, and there's some prices as well. So different clubs, like Backroad Map Books, has maps, and this is the year, the size of them, and the cost of them. But there are also, you can see here, some free maps. A lot of the free maps that I've used are from Natural Resources Canada. Here's a topographic map. This one is fairly old. So yeah, there are some options here. It can be super useful to, if you're in an area like, if we were closer to Silver Star ski resort, there is, they might have maps here for $2.70. If we had to work in the trail network, or we were protecting cabins in a provincial park or something, it might make a lot of sense for us to, if we're trying to identify certain structures or something like that within that area, maybe it makes sense to download those specific maps. Provided by, a snowmobile or bike club or something like that, that'll give us access, to maybe some forestry roads, or, other paths that might not be just on a provincial map. Another way, if we just are using that basic version, is here up at the top. We can drag this list over, and there's this price filter here. When we click down the filter, it'll be down at the bottom, and we can see right here, we can just click the free button. What that'll do is just filter us all out just for free maps that are in the area. So we'll take a look here at this map set. So here's a Natural Resources Canada map. The Toporama maps I find are the most updated free maps. Again, this is over 10 years old. But if we click on the map itself, it'll give us a little bit of information on the map. We can click this. The preview gives us a shot of what the map looks like. But the map extents is really great. So this one shows that, with this map, this is the area that we're able to get coverage with, and that this map includes. So that's perfect. If we're going to capture the north side of Vernon, this is a map that we're going to want to download. So what I can do is just click this free button here, and we're going to grab this map. So it's just telling us, because we haven't created an account, it's, this download is not tied to our account, and if we want to continue, we're just going to click yes. So it's going to start downloading that Vernon map. So when we did look at this Vernon map in the extents, we noticed that actually it doesn't include Coldstream at all. So if we are trying to, if we are working a fire in this area, you can see my position is right on the border and right on the line between the two. We're going to have to download that second map that's below here. So we're going to have to try and find that. So we can back out of here, we can close this, and we're going to try and find another map that is further down. So here's another one, Salmon Arm. Let's just click on it and take a look at where the map covers. Well, it's way farther north. It's in Salmon Arm and Enderby. That wasn't the right choice. That was kind of in the wrong direction. So let's close that. We want something that's going to capture Lake Country, Coldstream, and Oyama. Okay, so we've got one here, it says Oyama, BC. We take a look at the map extents, and this one captures that Coldstream, Oyama, and Wingfield, and some of Fintry actually on the side here. Great. So let's take this map as well with us. And again, we want to continue. Perfect. Now we've downloaded those two maps. We have to make sure that these downloads are complete before we leave a service area. And we can check on that by going back to the My Maps tab. Now you can see we've got some maps in queue here, and we've got our Oyama map. It is loading for us. So we're going to let that progress continue, and we'll talk about the other ways that we can import maps. So the next way that we can import maps is through an AirDrop or USB. So the way that we can, we receive an AirDrop just like any other file, and I'll do that now. I'll send an AirDrop of another map to this device. So someone can send you an AirDrop. And what we have to make sure is we have to make sure that our device has AirDrops turned on. So we can see we've got an AirDrop starting on the top here. To ensure we've got our AirDrops enabled, we just want to go to this little button here. Oop. And we can see that AirDrop from everyone is turned on. And that's perfect. So now that we've received that AirDrop from somebody, we go to this plus sign here in the My Maps section, and we can go to Import Maps. So now that AirDrop that we received, we've got a couple options. One is the map store up top here. One is requesting a map, so a special map from Avenza themselves to create. We've also got this from our iTunes file sharing, so like if we have it on our laptop, from Dropbox, so an online storage, from our iPad itself or from our local storage, and then from a website. We can enter the URL. That's another way that we can import it. As well, in this import map section, we have a spot for QR code, so we can click on that and use our camera to scan a QR code, and that QR code can link us to a map. Again, we need to have service for all of these options, except for getting a file off of our computer or from an AirDrop. So we'll just proceed with that. So we can see here that we've been AirDropped some of these files here. This one is a map, so we're going to use it and import it. Click open. You can see that one working away at the top here. So that's perfect. So if you're using a, you can use a USB to transfer maps onto your iPad. You just have to make sure that your USB stick has the necessary software already on the iPad and working in order to transfer those files in. And then if you have a Lightning connector or an Apple proprietary connector, that you have an adapter for that. So it might be beneficial in the field to have a USB stick that you can transfer information onto your iPad, because AirDrop again only works from iPad to iPad. BC Wildfire does use iPads and Apple products, but if anybody in the field has just an Android tablet, there are conflicts in getting, being able to share and transfer maps. So one way around that conflict actually is our fourth way that we can import maps, and that's to download them from the internet. So if we go again to import maps, we can download them from the internet onto the device. If they're attached to a URL, we can get them from the URL or from the web page. And then if we have email on our iPad, and the file is small enough, we can actually email it to the iPad, and then then be able to import it off of a storage location that's on our iPad. So you could have somebody with an Android email you a layer, and then you're able to import that in. Again, there's file restrictions on that, so I think like that 20 megabytes is all that you can really push through an email inbox. So you might not be able to send a lot of heavy data, and things like pictures that are attached. The fifth way we just mentioned a little bit earlier, but it's this QR code. So it is a way that you can import maps as well. Some agencies use QR codes in order to help disseminate mapping on a site. And so you can just scan that QR code with the QR code scanner, and it'll import the map into the Avenza application. So you can see we've got 2 maps here imported. And we're cruising and working on our other ones, which is perfect. So now if we go to this plus sign again, let's just talk about some of these other things that we've got in here. So we've got create a folder. So what a folder does is, it just helps us organize our maps in our app here. So I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it Vernon. Perfect. So now I've got this folder. We can see that it's empty here. So let's throw a bunch of these maps here that belong into this folder. So now we click these 3 dots on the side here. We've got a couple options. Sharing allows us to airdrop these maps to someone else. We can rename them, make a copy of them, or delete them. But let's move them. So we're going to get this prompt here. We've only got one folder to move them to, so I've moved that one to Vernon. I'm going to move this Oyama map here to Vernon. And then there's this other Toparama map. Let's move this to Vernon. Let's let this other map outside, this base map, we'll let it to continue to load outside of this map here, or outside of this folder. And we'll have a look inside this folder. Now we see we have these 3 maps that are inside here. Now there's something else that we can do with these maps. So remember before how I showed that the Vernon map, we can have a look at it by just clicking. So this is that Natural Resources Canada map. Again, it has some contours on it if we zoom in. And it's got some detail, but it's much higher resolution, and we don't get street names or any of those other features no matter how far we zoom in. So there, these maps, and again, it is over 10 years old, so there might be some missing information on these, but you can see here on this map, we've got the city of Vernon. If we try to scroll off the map, it won't really let us, and, we're restricted to this mapping area here. Now, if we're working in an area that overlaps 2 different maps, this can be kind of a pain because we're going to have to go back out and switch maps as we cross back over the map boundary. So there's a way to eliminate this. So if we go back here into our folder, it's our Vernon folder. Another thing we could try doing is we could add a collection and create this collection. So let's create a collection, and we'll call it Vernon Vernon should be fine. It's going to, when we create it, it's going to give us a new symbol here. So it's inside of Vernon, and it's our Vernon collection. It's a green folder. If we go back, we'll be able to see the Vernon folder. It's got no, it's just solid green. We go inside, we've created another folder. It's called a collection. So what happens is if we take this Vernon map and we move this Vernon map into the collection, clicking on this collection here, and we take this Oyama map that was to the south, and we move it to Vernon. What happens when we go inside the collection now, is we'll look at the Vernon map again. We can see there is a little shaded set of maps up here in the top. Kind of gives you like a legend of where you are in the map. So you can see now, again, we're back at Vernon. But as we scroll with our map and we drag our map down and cross that map boundary, it automatically highlights this second map and jumps us into the next map. So now we're in that Lake Country map that's to the south. We're also capturing the district of Coldstream right in here. And this allows us to transition from map to map in real time as we're moving in a vehicle or just dragging your cursor along the screen. Now these maps are from the same source and they line up really nice and nearly perfectly. But what if we had a map like our imported map here from the regional district? So let's go have a look at that map. So this is a map that's created much like the ones that BC Wildfire generates. We've got a title block on the bottom here, a legend with a bunch of information on it. And this one actually has a aerial view. So we're able to see that aerial view, on our basic account because our agency has provided us with this map. So again, we can see here, this is Vernon up in here. Coldstream is just down in here. And we can see us on this map. So this map, overlaps those two maps that we've already had. So what we can actually do with this map, go back, is we can add this map to our collection. So if we just click these three dots and we go to Move, and we put it in that Vernon collection. Now, when we go back into this Vernon collection, and let's go to the Vernon Natural Resources Canada map. So before, remember when we talked about, we had this map, if we cross the line of this map, it automatically transitions into the Lake Country OEM map. Okay, and you can see there's another little outline here. Well, that's another little embedded map. So if we kind of transition over and double click on that map, now we've moved into that, that agency map that we were able to download. By taking our finger and clicking, double tapping on each of these maps, we can shift and move over to each of those three maps. And as we scroll out of these maps, I'm able to transition from map to map. So this one, again, if I go up, I've transitioned into this map. If I keep going up, I've transitioned into the third map. So this can be super helpful. And again, the maps don't have to be from the same provider. They don't even have to really match up or meet up. So if we have a, this is a Silver Star Ski Resort here. If we've got a little map of just the ski resort, we can embed it in this collection and automatically transfer to that, when we're on top of that map, we can just simply double click on our map legend or transfer into it by scrolling and moving the crosshairs over into that section. And it's going to give us like a far more detailed map. And they're all going to be, seamlessly stitched together. So that's a great use of collections, and we can organize collections in folders just to tidy up, all of our maps. We could even make this folder for the North Okanagan if we wanted to, and then have different map sets within that.